Hi, this is Alan Aitken and welcome to another edition of the South China Morning Post Racing Podcast. Well, it's Sasa Ladies Purse Day at Sha Tin, Ladies Day, and all the nice hats will be out in force, I'm sure. And we'll get to the feature event there, a very exciting feature event featuring the boom horse Young Elite. We'll get to that in a couple of moments. But first of all, a little bit of news in Hong Kong racing with South African jockey Lloyd deciding to delay his return to riding by a week. Now, you'll recall last Sunday, Lloyd was injured, in fact sprained an ankle, when his mount Tom's 6 dropped dead underneath him shortly after the finish of the final race. And Jeff had hoped to be back riding at Sha Tin today, but tested his sprained ankle on Thursday at morning track work and found that it wasn't quite right, and he elected to stand down from 8 rides today. Now, Jeff said that the tendons and ligaments at the back of the ankle were still a bit tight, even though the swelling had gone down, and he would prefer not to ride unless he's 100% fit, knowing that it would affect his form in the saddle. So he's going to test the ankle again on Thursday at track work and then decide if he'll come back to race riding for next Saturday's meeting. Well, as I said, it's Sasa Ladies Purse Day, and the Ladies Purse has been a terrific race in recent years, and particularly a good race for trainer Tony Cruz. And I'm going for his horse, Roma Pegasus, to upset the odds-on favourite Young Elite today. Now, Young Elite, well, he's won 6 out of 10. He's steaming toward a run in the international races. On the other hand, Roma Pegasus is a Hong Kong maiden. He had a big boom on him in Australia, never quite lived up to it, even though he ran some good races in Group 1 Classics as a 3-year-old. And last season as a 4-year-old in Hong Kong with Armand Lee, he refused to settle, wouldn't relax, and that saw him winless, even though he ran good races in events like the Derby and the Classic Mile. Well, now with Tony Cruz, it's a matter of whether Tony Cruz can wave his magic wand and get horse firing at his top. Because if he can, I think that 12-pound weight difference between Young Elite and Roma Pegasus this afternoon is going to be crucial. Cruz has won this race first up with horses 3 times, 2004 with Russian Pearl, the following year with Willie de Troy, and in 2006 with Hello Pretty, each of them having their first run for the season and their first run for Tony Cruz. And that will be the case with Roma Pegasus today, and he looks to have been especially prepared to resume in this race. Gate 9 is not ideal, but he has been showing no signs of over-racing in his work and in his recent barrier trial, and a more tractable Roma Pegasus could make life very difficult for Young Elite. Certainly not knocking the favourite, but I think punters will get a lot better value and a great run for their money out of Roma Pegasus in today's Ladies' Purse. Jockey Challenge time, and Douglas Whyte has won 2 from 2 since he resumed from suspension, but I think today apprentice Mathew Chadwick might just have a little edge on him in what looks a good old-fashioned face-off. Whyte was posted 2.6 by odds makers last night, ahead of Chadwick at 3.3, but he got out to 3.5 soon after betting opened, as support came for the third choice, Brett Preble, 4.0 into 3.6, and the rest of the jockeys are at double figures to win today's challenge. Well, I think Mathew Chadwick has the ammunition to do it. He's going to be looking for the right run on a couple of these rides that he has today, but certainly early on he will kick off very well. He has Centennial Smile in the opener, and then a short price favourite, Lucky Prince, in the second, and Gallant Champion in the third, also likely to start favourite. If he can get on the board in a convincing way by that stage, he's going to be hard to beat. Even though he's fairly suspect through the middle of the meeting, his final rides make him look like he'll be getting the line strongly, and I think he can do enough to knock out Douglas Whyte in today's Jockey Challenge. Best bet time, and mine today comes up in race 6, number 4, High Return. Always off the track first up when he was beaten by Ambitious Treasure in the last stride. I think he's a reasonably promising horse, and he should get a much better run in today's race. So he's my best for Sha Tin. Race 6, number 4, High Return. Well, that's all for this edition of the South China Morning Post Racing Podcast. For anything more on what you've heard here, have a look online at www.racing.scmp.com or pick up your copy of today's Sunday Morning Post with the lift-out guide for Sha Tin Ladies' Day. I'm Alan Aitken. Good punting.